Hello and welcome to Baseballology, where we look at the players in the history of the game and talk about their credentials for induction in the Hall of Fame. As always, I don't advocate for anyone's removal from the Hall of Fame, but I do like talking about the history and ranking of these players. The player we have today is quite possibly the worst player statistically in the Hall of Fame. Today we look at Boston Braves right fielder Tommy McCarthy. McCarthy played in the early years of baseball, with a career spanning from 1884 to 1896. Manning the outfield for several teams, predominantly the Boston Braves, McCarthy put up an offensive profile that, for the Hall of Fame, should be considered, well, offensive. McCarthy had a WRC plus of only 105 for his career. 105. Currently this season, here are some players that have about a 105 WRC plus. Tim Anderson of the White Sox, David Peralta of the Diamondbacks, Kevin Pillar of the Blue Jays, and Tucker Barnhart of the Reds. I don't think anyone is clamoring for any of those people to be inducted into the Hall of Fame based on the seasons they're currently having. And McCarthy put up those numbers over a 13-year career that saw a very sudden and sharp decline that we'll get to in a moment. Of course, there's more to playing baseball than just hitting. There's base running and fielding to consider as well. And in the interest of fairness, at his peak, McCarthy was a very good base runner. McCarthy managed to steal over 400 bases in his career, with a career high of 93, and was worth plus 42 fielding runs in the outfield, despite being negative 10 at various spots on the infield. McCarthy spent a lot of time early in his career as a pitcher, which helped him gather the arm strength he would need to collect 268 assists from the outfield, which ranked 5th at the time of his retirement. The problem with McCarthy as a Hall of Famer is that in such a short career, he would need to show dominance at a Jackie Robinson level or a Sandy Koufax level to really hold up well with the rest of the all-time greats. Unfortunately, that just wasn't going to occur. After the 1894 season, where McCarthy put up a WRC plus of 113 and hit a career-high 13 home runs, 13 was his career high, McCarthy began a swift decline partly due to age, as he was 33 in the 1894 season, but mostly due to his drinking habits. McCarthy and his fellow Braves outfielder and fellow Hall of Famer Hugh Duffy had opened a bar in Boston. McCarthy was always one of the friendlier players towards the fans, and he enjoyed drinking and carousing with the Boston Braves fans. He enjoyed it so much that he began to gain weight. I don't think I'm being controversial in stating that when your best weapon is speed, gaining weight is not a good idea. In 1895, McCarthy put up a WRC plus of only 94, while being a mostly replacement-level player overall, after being worth at least 2 wins each year since 1888. After an even more disappointing season in 1896, where he was below replacement level, McCarthy was done as a major league player. Unfortunately for McCarthy, his drinking habits and being overweight led to his passing away at the too early of an age of 59 in 1922. On the first few Hall of Fame ballots, McCarthy received little to no attention for induction, as most of the early players were relegated to a few votes from the first incarnations of the Veterans Committee. Then a miracle happened. In 1945, his teammate Hugh Duffy gained elections to the Hall of Fame. Duffy and McCarthy were linked as longtime teammates, and they were dubbed the Heavenly Twins during their playing days, and were lifelong friends. So it's possible that the Old Timers Committee, which was a panel appointed by Commissioner Landis to help induct several older players before they were forever forgotten, believed that if one was inducted, the other should be as well. While others have put out the possibilities of cronyism with his selection, there is not a whole lot of evidence that it actually occurred, so I'm not going to accuse anyone of anything for this one. I will say that we will get to some actual examples of cronyism, but not today. Tommy McCarthy was a good heads-up, intelligent player that helped redefine the way people played the outfield, along with his longtime friend Hugh Duffy. Unfortunately, his accomplishments on the field, outside of some anecdotal descriptions of how he played, don't make for a very compelling case for the Hall of Fame. There may have been some Hall of Famers who had worse numbers than McCarthy, but his short career and no string of dominance makes him the worst Hall of Famer. Thanks for watching today's episode of Tommy McCarthy. What do you guys think of his selection? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked what you saw, click the subscribe button below. Also in the comments, you can put your thoughts out there about who will be in the next video. And here's your hint for the next video. This Pirates center fielder was the younger of 2 Hall of Fame brothers. I'll see you next time.